happening in Burkina Faso. Indeed, we should be working closer with our comrades in Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, this government has created some tension between us and Burkina Faso because our president went and opened his mouth too wide. You saw the video. He went and was doing konkonsa about your neighbor.
Thank you very much, sir. So we have the last three. We are actually running out of time for our next program, so if we can please be very quick.
Thank you very much. His Excellency, I want to let you know that the life of our elderly mothers in the north and specifically Upper East region is in danger. This is as a result of witchcraft accusations. Witchcraft accusations is becoming a trending norm as far as the Upper East region and other parts of the country is concerned. The bill that was passed by Parliament has not actually received any accent by the President. I would want to know, if given the opportunity, what would you do differently? Mr. President, development is something that is very dear in some of us, our hearts, as far as Upper East region is concerned. Mostly we hear from your appointees, especially the 14 MPs representing NDC in this particular region, that their mother is not in the kitchen. Mr. President, we want to know what you will do differently if given the norm when it comes to power as far as development of Upper East is concerned. Let me have it here, sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Gilbert Mawuli Agbe, Upper East correspondent for Daily Graphic. Mr. Former President, I'm sure it has been brought to your attention the issue of skyrocketing poultry imports, particularly frozen chicken, which also poses health concerns for consumers. In the Upper East region, specifically in the Zebila area, there is an abundance of Guinea fowl. The local community has repeatedly called for a processing factory to convert these birds into frozen food products. My question is, what viability do you see in creating a sustainable poultry industry around Guinea fowls to reduce our reliance on imports? While I'm aware of past political initiatives related to this, I would like to know your stance on the potential for this industry to thrive. Thank you very much.
Good morning and thank you for the opportunity. I'm Nicholas Azebire, Dreams FM. Your Excellency, you were right when you said going around the issues are largely the same. In the Upper East region, they have remained unchanged. This is your stronghold. The Upper East Regional Hospital has been one issue. We have the CK Tedam, that is a medical school. We do not have a tertiary facility, a teaching hospital. What will you do? And also the airport issue. And what will you do with the NDA? Thank you.
For the opportunity. My name is Jarvis Avoka. I work with ZEPS FM in Zebila. Your Excellency, I was happy you touched on the Bolga-Boku route. However, another important route as far as this region is concerned is the completion of the Eastern Corridor route. I think that it passes through Nakwanduri in the northeast, through Garu, through Misiga, and then to Kolugungu. All the literature I've read on that route, there's nothing that talks about this particular stretch I've just mentioned. I don't know, is it still in your plan that when you come to power in January, you focus on that particular road, and will this stretch be given attention? And then finally, Upper East, we know this is a region with close proximity to Burkina Faso and other neighboring countries. The troubles in those countries also affect us. We have had refugees running to Ghana. I don't know if your team is aware of the security challenges that this region is faced with due to the happenings in other countries, and what are your plans for dealing with this? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Can we have you take these ones very quickly so we can wrap up? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Whenever there's poverty and crisis, there's an increase in witchcraft. Because people don't tend to take responsibility for themselves. They must find somebody to blame for adversity. And so if they are not able to find opportunity, they are not able to satisfy their full potential, you know, there's crisis, there's hunger and all that, they must find somebody to blame. And normally they'll look for the most vulnerable person in the society, and these are the poor old women, and accuse them of witchcraft. And so it's a direct correlation to the increase in poverty, the increase in accusations of witchcraft. But look, let me tell you, there is no witchcraft. None of your mothers is responsible for your poverty. The old woman is looking after herself. She's also struggling like you. And then you come and say she is responsible for your poverty. No old lady is responsible for tying your womb and you can't have a child. You know, it is biological, it is medical. You know, you might have a restricted fallopian tube, you might have some internal condition that is preventing you from giving birth. Your mother didn't fly in the night and come into your stomach and tie your womb, or she didn't go and take it to a witches conference and they cooked it and ate it. I mean, these are superstitions that we must kill. These are cultures that we must kill and kill completely. I've not looked at the anti-witchcraft bill yet, but anything that will protect these old men and women from being accused of being wizards and witchcraft, I think that is something that we must look at. The president has not assented to it. I don't know for what reason, but I'll find out. But I mean, I have been drawn to the issue of witchcraft because of my wife. My wife's foundation, Lodina Foundation, is the one that has worked closely with the Gambaga witches camp, and she's done a lot of programs for them. She provides them with food, she provides them with cloth, you know, to sew clothes for themselves and all that. So through her work I've become familiar with it. And one of the things they try to do with the Ministry of Gender and Children and Social Protection was to try and reintegrate these women back into their societies. And so they go and talk to the chief, they perform some rituals, they pacify the family, and then they're able to move the women back. I think that is something that we can continue. I know when we're in government, they closed one of the witches camps because they were able to move the women and reintegrate them in their society. So I think that that's something we should do. But I'll look at this anti-witchcraft bill and see what the issues are for which the president, you know, has refused to give his accent. You see, the point is, members of parliament are advocates for development. And so I think what they're trying to refer to is that they have more access to the corridors of power when their government is in place than when a different government is in place. That's all that they're trying to say. It's like, if my government is in place and I'm an MP from that particular party, I have more access to the ministers, and especially where the constitution says the majority of ministers should come from parliament, then it means that those ministers are their colleagues in parliament anyway. So they can make an appointment and go and see the minister and advocate for something for their constituency. So when they say their government is in opposition, all they're trying to say is that they don't have as much access as they should. But let me explain to you. The members of parliament are not the prime movers of development in the constituencies and the districts. It is rather the district chief executives. And development is not moving because this government has reduced the district assembly's common fund from 7.5% of total revenue that we were paying to 5%. And so it means that the districts are receiving less funds for their own development. And so if you ask the district chief executives in this government, they are really suffering. I really pity them. They are the most long-suffering district chief executives in the history of the Fourth Republic. Because everybody is blaming them for not drilling a borehole here, for not building a school there, but they don't have the funds because their government is not giving them the funds. They've reduced the funds, and apart from that, they are not releasing the District Assembly's Common Fund. Even the share of the MPs, which is a small percentage of it, it's only when the MPs put pressure in Parliament and tell the finance minister they won't approve something for him, then they'll release the share of the MPs. Meanwhile, the one that goes to the district itself is in arrears for so many quarters. And so you can't blame the district chief executives. They just don't have the funds to be able to do it. So I said, when we come, we're going to work to increase the share of the districts back to 7.5%, because the Constitution says between 5 and 8%. It should be between 5 and 8%. We went as high as 7.5%. This government has come down to 5%. And apart from that, they siphon off some of the money to the development associations. And so it doesn't impact the district, because the development associations, I say development authorities, they sit somewhere in their office, then they say, go and build a school in Zebila. Instead of, if it was in the district chief executive will identify a local contractor in Zebila to do it. And so the money stays in Zebila. But the development authorities will take a contractor from, say, Bolga or from Tamale and award him the contract to go and do in Zebila. And so when he goes and does it, the profit does not stay in Zebila, the profit goes elsewhere. And that is the effect the development authorities are having. So I'm saying that if you have money for the development authorities, give it to the districts. Share it to the district and increase the share of revenue they have, so that they can invest in their own districts and be able to multiply the revenue in the district. I've been an MP before, and I remember when I was an MP, anytime the District Assembly's Common Fund is released, Bole Bambo is buoyant. The slaughterhouse, they kill a cow, people are buying meat, because they pay the contractors, the local contractors, and the local contractors to, put money into the system. The hairdressers, the local contractor's wife will go and do her hair, the hairdresser to get some money. He goes and pays the filling station for the fuel he credited, the filling station attendant to get some money. He goes to the beer bar with his friends, the beer bar person to get money. He goes and pays the cement that he borrowed for the contract, cement person to get money. So it has a multiplier effect in the economy of the district. Unfortunately, that has dried up, because the District Assembly's Common Fund is not coming, and it is less than it used to be. And so these are the issues that we need to look at. Poultry imports. Poultry imports have increased. We're spending more on frozen chicken from outside. And that is because their own people are involved in importing the poultry. Recently, one of their biggest financiers passed away. She's the biggest importer of poultry in Ghana, member of Council of State. And so you can be sure that this government is not interested in restricting poultry imports. Also, because of the financial crisis, the cost of inputs in Ghana has gone up. So the cost of feed is high. The cost of all the things that they use to grow the poultry is up. And so our farmers are struggling, and it makes it easier to bring this frozen poultry in. And most of the time, the tariffs are high, but they are able to escape the duties. So they are able to bring the poultry in at lower than our own poultry producers can produce. So most of the major poultry farms are shutting down. Akati Farms was one of the biggest poultry farms. The last time I heard, they are struggling. I mean, I don't know if they've shut down, but they're almost shutting down. We need to reverse that situation. We need to reverse that situation. And so we already have had an engagement with the Poultry Farmers Association. We know what the issues are. And when we come, we'll do everything to try and support them. This was one of the SADA projects, and it was supposed to create an incubator for Guinea fowls. And so the incubation plant was built, the incubators were put there, and they were going to incubate the eggs and raise day-old guinea fowl chicks. Distribution to households, 100 chicks, and you will be given the poultry house and shown how to raise the guinea fowls. And then there was supposed to be a processing plant so that the guinea fowls will be bought off the households and processed, and they will put them in frozen trucks to send them down to the south to market. Unfortunately, the project ran into issues. The media criticized it, and they came and said the guinea fowls had flown to Burkina Faso. No guinea fowls flew to Burkina Faso. Guinea fowls are not migratory birds. And the project was not for you to come and see thousands of guinea fowls in one place. It was supposed to incubate the eggs and give the guinea fowl day-old chicks to the farmers. And so somebody came and asked, he says he asked the watchman, where are the guinea fowls? And the watchman said, oh, they go Burkina Faso, they go come rainy season, they go come back. And then it took a life of its own. The media went and published it. And up to now, there are people who believe that there were some guinea fowls that flew to Burkina Faso, you know. So that project died. But I think it's a project we can look at again, because people find guinea fowl meat more healthy. And if you go to the south, they have roasted guinea fowl that people are consuming. And I do think that if we're able to increase guinea fowl production, it would help the incomes of a lot of families. When we drive along the Zebila Road, you see vehicles parked, and the guinea fowl is, grilled, and they buy it and chop it up. And it makes a healthy meal. And so it's something that we're prepared to look at. The Upper East Regional Hospital, it's not been completed. We did phase 1. I finished phase 1, and then we got the funding for phase 2. It continued under this government, part of phase 2. The phase 2 is not completed, but the phase 3 is in danger because it was supposed to be a facility from Saudi Arabia, the Saudi fund. And since the debt restructuring, one is not sure whether the funding will continue or not. So we need to come and take a look and see how we can work to finish it. If we finish it, I think that it can be used temporarily for the students who are doing medical training. And Tamale is not far. If they need some additional practicals, they can move them to Tamale and bring them back until eventually we get a proper teaching hospital here in the Upper East. It happened with UDS when the Tamale Regional Hospital was not yet a teaching hospital. The students used to be sent to Kumasi for some of the practicals and brought back to Tamale until the Tamale Teaching Hospital was upgraded. Tamale Regional Hospital was upgraded into a teaching hospital, and then now UDS does their practicals in the Tamale Teaching Hospital. So first, let's finish the regional hospital, and then they can do some of the practicals there, but the rest they can go to Tamale, and then eventually when we upgrade Boga Hospital into a teaching hospital, then the training can continue. We're going to look at all the development authorities again. I don't think that they've achieved the reason for which they were the Coastal Development Authority, Middle Belt, and all that. We're going to look at it again. And like I said, rather than just do blanket development authorities, we must do better targeting of the areas of poverty. What that structure will be, I don't know yet, but it's something that I think we should look at. Eastern Corridor, we're dedicated to finishing it. It was the concept of Professor John Evans Atta Mills. Because of the food production in the Northeastern Corridor, he thought that if we did the Eastern Corridor Road, it will help to evacuate a lot of the agricultural products faster to the south. And that should reduce the price, because then the transporters would reduce the fares for which they are transporting. We've done segments of it. I did the segment from Gushegu to Otidamanko. That one is done. It's in good condition. Actually, we got to a point, this government continued with it because we had funding from Brazil for it. The missing link is from Gushegu, Nakpanduri, through Misiga, Garu to Kulungungu. And that is a priority. We should be able to do it, and if we do it, it will help to open up the Eastern Corridor. There are some portions like from Damanko to Nkwanta, and then we did the stretch from Nkwanta to Dodipepesu, and then there's a stretch from Jasikan to Hohoi. Part of it has been done by Rolida, but there's a missing link just before you get to Hohoi. We need to do that. Then after you leave Hohoi, Have, all the way through Peki, there's another missing link there. And so we need to finish that to open up that corridor. So it's a priority. But I also talked about the Northern Ring, and that is, you should be able to leave Bolga and go to Tumu and to Wa. That is a missing link. That road is not complete. And then from Wa, you go from Wa to Sola. The Wa-Sola road is bitumen, but it's not been maintained, so it's in a poor state, and so we need to do that. Then you can go from Sola to Damango. That is part of the Sola-Fofoso road. That was done. It's fairly good. Damango to Fofoso Junction is good. Then Fofoso Junction back to Tamale, you turn left. It's good, perfect road. Then from Tamale to Yendi, this government has rehabilitated the Tamale-Yendi road, so that's good. Then you can turn left again to Gushagu, which is part of the northern part of the Eastern Corridor. That is good. Then after Gushagu, the road is not good. You can pass through there to Kulungungu, turn left and come to Boko, and from Boko come back to Bolga. You should be able to do that round in 24 hours. And so that is going to be something that we look at, because it will open up the north and improve transport, in the northern sector. Final question on terrorism. They say when your neighbor's beard is on fire, you fetch water and put it by your beard, because it can spread to your own beard. And so we know what is happening in Burkina Faso. Indeed, we should be working closer with our comrades in Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, this government has created some tension between us and Burkina Faso, because our president went and opened his mouth too wide. You saw the video. He went and was doing konkonsa about your neighbor. We all are here. We are suffering. America called you small, and you are so excited, and then your neighbor, you are doing konkonsa about him. And so it has created some diplomatic tension. He went there and apologized, but still it's not the best. So when government changes, we have to go and talk to our neighbors, because we must work together. Indeed, the whole anti-terrorism strategy of this sub-region was done in Accra. It's called the Accra Initiative. And so we are the hosts of that initiative. So we must be reaching out to them and seeing how we can collaborate with them in order that we quench the fire in their houses. Because if there's fire in your neighbor's house, you don't help him to put it off, it will spread to your house. And so I think that we must improve our relationship with Burkina Faso. At the same time, we must also strengthen our surveillance and security, so that in case it comes into our borders, we are able to deal with it. And that is also the reason why we must solve the Boko crisis as quickly as possible, because just across the border is where this thing is happening. And terrorism feeds in through a weak link. And so where you have crisis, that is where it will come through. And that is the reason why the issues of Boko must be dealt with. And that probably could be one of the reasons that they are requesting a region, because of security. It can give a better focus on the security of the area and all that. But those are some issues that can be dealt with, at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, sir. Thank you for this very insightful question and answer session. Like I always say, he's actually the very best communicator you can find.